Before we understand anything else about Malaysia, it is important to understand how Malaysia was created in the first place. What were the roles of the IGC and the Malaysia Agreement in the formation of Malaysia? How these two documents will affect the building of Malaysia as a federation of nations, not as a nation state. All right? The first document is this one, report of the Inter-Government Committee. Inter-Government Committee report, not limited to the British government and the Federation of Malaya, but include the government of North Borneo and the government of Sarawak. Okay, the government. This is not political parties. These are government to government. The signatories of this were the United Kingdom, Federation of Malaya, North Borneo, Sarawak, excluding Singapore. Singapore was not included in the IGC. All right? In here, Singapore was not included. Now, the Inter-Government Committee, okay, which is basically the table of content here, it contains our rights. They are altogether about 53 rights. Not 20 points, not 20 rights, 53 rights, including our judiciary, including finance. It's in here. That's our rights. All right? Now, this content, we can, two most important parts. That's the first part. The first part is put into here as well. All right? Part 1 inserted to the Malaysia Constitution as amended articles and new articles. And then we have the second part. This is the Annex A. This is basically when we talk about Annex A. That's Annex A. All right? Now, this Annex A was only partly inserted through this one, the Constitution. Partly inserted. Some part of it is not inserted. All right? Now, because of that, we have Article 8 of the Malaysia Agreement 1963. If you read the papers this morning, they talk about this. Article 8 of the Malaysia Agreement. All right? Now, this is Article 8 of the Malaysia Agreement because of the part not inserted into the Malaysia Constitution as Schedule 9, meaning to say the caveat. Let me show it to you. This is the bigger picture. This is Annex A, which was put into here as the 9th schedule. And in the 9th schedule, we are talking about what are the powers of the federal government, what are the powers of the state government, and what are the concurrent powers which both government can do. They can enact law which they will regulate this type of power. Now, so Borneo states give power to the federal government. Borneo states give power to the federal government. It's not the other way around. It's not the federal government intrinsically have that power. No. We give the power to them through this. How? Look at this. This is list 1, federal list, external affairs. We say external affairs, the federal government will look after it. Yes. But that federal list is actually given by us through this one. All right? How do we give it to them? You say it's federal list. It's federal power. But this power will only be given to them if they fulfill the immigration set out in paragraph 16 of this report. Meaning to say, we give them the power based on a condition. If that condition is deleted, or that condition is not there anymore, then that power goes back to us. That's what it says. So, subject to that, that's why right now, our Chief Minister have got the power under the Immigration Act 1959-1963. the state authority, the state authority have the power to reject anybody from coming to Sabah and Sarawak. If the federal government were to repeal that or delete that, no more, then external affairs come back to us. Okay, there's so many. I'm just giving one example. There are so many in the IGC, this caveat. That includes cabotage as well. Do you know that according to this one, the cabotage policy they cannot implement in Sabah and Sarawak? Why? Because it's specifically stated that they cannot discriminate by diverting the trade routes under shipping and navigation. All right? The federal government cannot discriminate Sabah and Sarawak by deviating the trade routes. So, the example of Sabah, for example, Sabah, in the 60s, we have direct container or direct cargo coming from Hong Kong to Kota Kinabalu. Now, because of the cabotage policy, that cargo from Hong Kong have to go to Port Klang, transfer to another ship, and go back to Kota Kinabalu. So we have to pay double the price. That's why the cost of goods in Sabah and probably in Sarawak is very expensive. You see? That's discrimination. I cannot buy the same goods in KK the same price as in KL. That's discrimination. I use 1 ringgit in KL, I've got 1 ringgit value of goods. But when I use 1 ringgit in Kota Kinabalu, I can only get 60 cents value of goods. That's discrimination. And that's not right, according to this one. Right? Now, power is given with condition. If Parliament cancel the condition, by right that power revert back to Sabah or Sarawak in this case. Now, Annex A of IGC point out in the legislative list, federal power is given by the Borneo state conditionally. It's not their power. We give it to them. It did not belong to the federal government or federal power as it was in the Federation of Malaya Agreement 1957. 1957 was a different scenario. It is therefore wrong for Borneo states to ask for autonomy or decentralization or devolution or empowerment. That's your power. Why do you need to ask for it? So why should the Borneo states ask for power which belongs to them?